we are, episode 113.
113. How you doing?
The question is, Stacy, how are you doing? We'll get into my issues in just a moment. How are you?
I am fine. You know, senior care, no updates. Mom's still in rehab. I don't, there's no, we're just, she just needs to heal and she needs to get home. So there's no update there. But, have you cooled off yet? Did you get your air conditioner yet? What is happening?
So I lucked into, I had a bunch of people come out to the house over the last couple of days for prices, estimates to get a new system. And the first guy that comes out right off the bat, he says $16,000 minimum. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I go, when we left our old house, we put a new system in, so we could get a better price for the house. And that was like $6,000. And I'm like, what happened? And so he's telling me the story. COVID changes everything as he's twirling his mustache. And I'm like, okay, Dick Dastardly. So then I get a couple other people. I cry to my mother and my father, like, what are they doing? They're ripping me off. I sounded like, remember in Rudolph? Herbie wants to be a dentist too. What?
Yes.
I was going out of my mind with this pricing.
That's insane. Yeah,
it is.
Can understand.
Yes. Crazy Eddie to the max. So I did what everybody else does. I went to the old magic Google box and I just started reading consumer reports and reviews. And I got a couple other people to come out, and then theirs was half, literally half. Maybe plus $1,000. That's it. So I thought, okay. And this one guy came out and he's the salesman, and I really like this guy. And the reason I chose him over the others, he had good pricing, but two other reasons. One, he brought out 2 floor units to put in the 1 bedroom in the TV room, 12,000 BTU, cooled down the whole floor. So it won't be 88 degrees anymore. Now I'll get it down around 70 degrees. And which is way more livable. Right. And the other thing was his last name was Lang. And I thought, okay, this is a good omen. Clubber Lang.
Nice. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus he came in and spent 15 minutes looking at the stuff in the Rocky room. So I was like, Rocky van. All right. So that's good. So he was very nice.
You got to get the AC guy on.
Yeah, we should. We should.
Nice.
So that'll be next Wednesday. They're coming 8:00 in the morning and take the old one out, put the new one in, and we should be back rocking and rolling.
Nice. Very nice.
I'm very, very, very excited about that. Hey, What was happening in 2013 with Mr. Stallone?
Mr. Stallone had 2 things going on, and this is sort of a continuation of our conversation. So, in Europe in 2012 opened over in Europe, but in America, it opened in 2013. So Bullet to the Head. I enjoyed Bullet to the Head. I don't know about you. There are people who people are just hard on Stallone. If it's not Rocky or Rambo, they're just tough on him. But I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was good.
I've seen the movie 3 times and I had a really difficult time with it. I never have a hard time with Sly, and that's not because I'm a fanboy with rose-colored glasses on. I really enjoy Sly's performances. I loved his performance in Driven. Driven was a horrible movie, but Sly was always good in it. I've always maintained that. But Bullet to the Head, I think Jason Momoa was one of the weakest villains that a Stallone character has ever had to face. I think his sidekick, I don't think there was any chemistry between Sly and the sidekick. I think Stallone's daughter in the movie, I think she's a good actress. I liked her. There was a TV show we used to watch. It was about a supercomputer that knew everything, and it was like a sleuthing show, like with a mystery show, and they would always this computer. Anyways, she was in that. Shy something was her name, and I thought she was a pretty good actress. But the movie, I don't know. Walter Hill directed the movie, who did like The Warriors and some other great stuff. I don't know. It didn't do it for me. But Escape Plan, I enjoyed Escape Plan, and again, it was I'm never surprised at when I see Sly doing what he does. He's always right on the money. But Arnold blew me away in this. Arnold was so good. Fun.
To see them
Yes,
together was fun. Yeah, the fight scene, and yeah, it was
totally.
great. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, just watching this for me was such a little giggle because, you know, we grew up the 70s and the 80s and in the 90s and watching Arnold and Sly go through their careers, never having been in a movie. And the first Expendables really didn't count at this point. Now, okay, I guess they were together in Expendables 2 by this point. But yeah, it's great when they really were able to chew up the scene together. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I wish we had gotten more from these guys in their prime. And
Yeah, together. Mhm.
when they were on Fox TV a few months back, when they did that dual interview, okay,
Yeah.
do you remember what Arnold said as to why we didn't get more from the two of them? There were no good scripts.
Right.
No good scripts came their way. They would have found a way to put aside their mega paydays. They would have put
Mhm.
that aside in order to maybe take points on the back end or something. They would have done that, but they didn't have any good scripts. And I thought there were a bunch
Hmm.
of good things in the 80s and the 90s. How could, of all the thousands of scripts, how could one not work?
Not work, yeah. I don't
I
know,
guess
you
it
just
didn't.
wonder, it's gotta be hard to put 2 mega stars like that on the same screen, I guess. I could have
Uh,
thought of something, I don't know. I would have tried.
yeah, I
Right?
bet you could have thought of something.
I would have tried.
But I wonder why Sly didn't write something. He's
Hmm.
so creative and he knows Arnold so well. And so why I wonder why he never did a script for him and Arnold. That's
So,
always puzzled me.
guess who has a question to ask? That might be a good one.
Maybe I will. Let me write that down here.
Yeah.
I'd really like to know that. I don't know. Maybe it'd be too long of an answer. Or, I don't know. I'd be really interested to
Well,
see what he
if
says.
he answers, that would be very cool. That would
I
be very
know.
cool. I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Richard Handibode.
Look at this guy. I love Richie.
So I'm going to put up some pictures here. He loves Elvis and visiting
Ah,
Graceland. Yeah, visiting Graceland was one of his bucket list items. So he got there, and he just surprised me with that. He's like, "Guess where I'm going to be next week?" I'm like, "Where?" He's like, "I'm going to be in Memphis." I'm like, "Oh my god!" So we met halfway. He and his brother Mick, who you see here, we were at a restaurant in Jackson, Tennessee, and Mick, just such a sweet guy. He's got a great family, and he was there
yeah.
with
Yes, he does.
his two sisters as well, who went on a shopping spree during our dinner.
Nice.
So good for you, ladies. Yeah. So, but I did get to meet Mick, and just to be with Richie at the table was he feels in person exactly the way he is in
Yeah.
episode 91. Just
Yeah.
sweet,
He sure
genuine,
is.
really understands life, how we should be prioritizing. And we had
Yeah.
just a great conversation. So, Richie,
And
it
for
was,
those of you that forget, Richie's going through some serious health
mhm,
issues right now.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
about as serious as it gets.
right.
So all the positive thoughts to Richie. What a great guy. And it was my pleasure to get to meet him as well on the tour. And just
Yeah.
fantastic family.
Yeah, great family. And so I just wanted to say, Richie, how nice it was to meet you. And come to find out his wife wants to come to Nashville. So that's even closer to me. So I was like, tell me the time and
Wow.
date. And
Nice.
I will come pick you up or whatever. So yeah, I do look forward to their Nashville trips,
Awesome.
and just big hugs to him. He's good for my soul, that one. And then you may notice I have someone right next to me here.
I see you have some new artwork, some new memorabilia.
So right here, Mr. Joe Mangiaracina, one of our past guests, major Rocky fan, he and his wife are moving. So they are
Okay.
in the middle of, you gotta, weed out and pare down and
Sure.
so forth. And so he once had an idea called the Rocky Experience. And of course, as we know, MGM as they are, they shut it down. But
Mm,
it was to be either a movie or slash documentary type thing on how Rocky has impacted people's lives. And so he sent me a couple magnets from
nice.
that those
They look great.
promos. Aren't
I
those
love that.
awesome? So I have these. He gave me 2 of each, so I'm just so grateful to have these. And then you can see on my wall right here, this is fabric. This is a fabric wall hanging. So I
Nice.
finally got that up, and it allows me to move my camera, start moving around the room like you.
Yeah, you'll be able to do a 180 soon.
One day. And then, so this here, I just draped it over my chair for now. I'm probably going to hang it directly across right there. So he sent me 2 of those. So Joe, the fact that you even thought of me and in the middle of all this senior care and the stress of all that, and I opened this up and it just made my day. And I just love this, how big it is. It's going to cover a lot of wall space. So
Sure.
Thank you to Joe. That was very, very sweet. Love you guys. So, all right, my dear, let's see. 100 episodes ago.
Joanne Yee.
Our Joanne Yee, who, like Richard, knows the battle of fighting cancer, but she is doing very, very well. And this is one person, Richie, to definitely connect with, because this is a success story here. This is a beautiful story. And here is our update from Joanne Yee of episode 13.
Hello, everyone. Joanne from episode 13 here, just with a quick update. It's been about just almost 2.5 years now since I've been post-surgery cancer treatment for the second time. And I'm really happy to say I am still cancer-free and doing great. Last year or so has been basically just back to work, regular everyday life. I've since gotten a new kitty, as most of you seen in my one of my recent posts, little ginger cat, and of course I named him Stanley after Sly's character in Lords of Flatbush. And I also took part in our own Jason Nike's Rambo's top 50 moments, so that will be coming up hopefully sometime in the fall. Not sure. Jason's working on that still. But yeah, I sent in a video for him, got to be a part of that. It's going to be super fun. So keep an eye out for that. Other than that, everything is awesome. Hope everyone else in the Rocky Bubble's doing well, and keep punching. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Love her to death. I got a chance to talk to her last week and a half ago. Yeah. And we finally set a phone date. We hadn't talked in forever. And it is weird because, when you're connected online and you're seeing each other's names and liking and commenting, it doesn't seem like it's that long, but it was quite a while. So I talked to her for a little bit, and she was just wonderful, as she always is.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Joanne's always so supportive on all of our posts too. She really is. She's been so awesome for us, and I'm just glad she's part of the bubble and we're part of her bubble. I love that.
Yeah, and I love her all her Rambo photos. She posts those every now and again. She said her first Stallone experience was actually through Rambo, and then she learned about Rocky through Rambo. So so she always has some great, I'll put them up here, some fun posts from Hope, British Columbia, when they do their Rambo Day out there. She was there last year or the year before, but these pictures,
she had a good time too. I remember her pictures were awesome.
She's holding like the machine gun. She's so cute.
I know.
But just awesome. Yeah, love you, Joanne. She is all the Rocky things for sure. That one knows what it means to keep punching. That is for sure.
Hey, Stace, do we who's our guest this week? I think it's kind of an impressive guest.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. So I just wanted to first of all thank Brad Mahar. So Brad,
my man, Brad, I love this guy.
Brad got us this introduction, and we were so grateful because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just perfect. So all of us certainly remember this from Rocky 2. This gentleman right here, his name is Sonny Melendrez, and he was there for this iconic scene between Sly and or Rocky and Apollo announcing their rematch. And so Sonny agreed to join us. And one thing I want to say is, looking at his website, the first thing it says, he's in the business of inspiration. And so I want to talk about that as well.
Perfect.
Welcome, Sonny. How are you?
I'm fine, Stacy and Mike. How are you guys? I'm so excited and honored to be here.
This is so wonderful, because anytime we get someone that was directly connected to the Rocky franchise, this is, I think, one of those moments where a lot of our watchers just perk up a little more. They put their phone down, they stop playing Candy Crush, and they go, I'm going to check
Oh.
this one out. This is really good. Because you were a man with a plan. You were on site. Now, we're going to get to that in a little bit. But Stacy started this off with something probably maybe a little more important than even being on the Rocky set, inspiration. Stacy, where were you headed with that?
Well, in your you have a TEDx, which is in the link of your email. And so I watched that, and I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that TEDx. And I think we forget that inspiration, you have to be on purpose about the way you show up into a room, or on purpose about your thought pattern. And so that sort of plays right into my own personal philosophy. So I really enjoyed that. So I wanted to give you a chance to talk about it.
Oh, that's wonderful. You know, when I set out to do the TEDx talk, and it's like a 6-month process.
Yeah.
I was reflecting back on my life and all the things that I've been honored to do, including movies, animation, radio, television, etc. And I realized that there was a power that I was using that we all have, but don't always use. But it's kind of been a way of life for me. And that was the power of not only inspiration, but also enthusiasm. And I call it intentional enthusiasm.
Yeah. Loved
Yes.
that.
And it has 3 pillars. The first one is belief in yourself. The second is a clear vision of what you want to accomplish. And the third, and probably the most important, is gratitude. When you are grateful along the way, when you give back. And, we were talking earlier before we started the podcast about the generosity of Sylvester Stallone and what he does in text messages. He did a video for you. That's giving back, and that's gratitude. He's showing his gratitude for the great life that he's had by giving back to you and to all of his fans. So I think it makes a big difference.
You're really on point with that, because Stallone is at a point in his life where he's still a very busy guy, and he doesn't have to do that. Most of these big time iconic celebrities, I'm unaware that they do what Sly does. Maybe they do, but I don't know. I'm not in that world, so I don't really know for sure. But I have a feeling that there is a gratefulness to Sylvester Stallone that maybe a lot of other celebrities don't have. And I can tell you, and I'm sure you're going to let us know as well, Sonny, Sylvester Stallone is everything you would hope he would be when you meet him. He is that collected. But I want to get back to what you were talking about, intentional enthusiasm. So is this like something that you had when you were like a teenager? Like, did you along the way acquire?
I did. No, I was using it, but again, I didn't have a name for it. I didn't know what it was doing. All I knew that I've always been enthusiastic about life. If I didn't have to sleep, Stacy and Mike, I wouldn't sleep. Because I'm so excited to wake up every morning knowing that there's all kinds of great things that are about to happen that I don't even know about, but also things that I'm working on. And I think that we are never more happier than when we are in the service of others. When we please others, doing something for someone makes a big difference. So when I was a child, at 11 years old, I had 3 dreams.
Yes.
One was to be on television and work with the Disney Channel. It wasn't the Disney Channel then, it was Walt Disney. I was going to work for Walt Disney. The other was radio. I was enthralled with the idea of radio, that you could speak to the thousands of people and entertain them in a studio. So I knew that one day I was going to be on the radio. And the third one happened quite by accident when I was watching my favorite cartoon show, Yogi Bear. I found out that at that early age, I had this uncanny ability to mimic the voices that I heard. And, Yogi always had that bigger than life persona. Hey, I'm Yogi Bear, smarter than the average bear. And what was his little friend's name? Boo Boo.
Oh yeah,
Boo-boo,
Boo Boo Bear.
right.
Boo Boo
Yes.
Bear.
Boogie, we're gonna get in trouble with the ranger. Whip up thing, little boo boo. Got it under control.
Nice.
And that was
That's
at
pretty good.
11 years old.
Wow.
So, I truly believe, talking about Sylvester Stallone and his background and how he got to where he is, it was all self-made and it was a very modest background.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
we didn't live in a house or an apartment. We lived in the back of my dad's barbershop. My
Yeah.
dad partitioned this little barbershop in San Antonio, and we lived in half of the barbershop.
Wow.
And he built what I call a dream machine for my brother and me in our backyard. It was actually the parking lot. And up in these two trees, he built this giant tree house.
Yeah.
And I would go up there, and as the stars began to twinkle across the big Texas sky, I'd sit there and I would dream about where I'd go, people I'd meet, things I'd do, what I would become at that
Yeah.
very early
Sure,
age.
sure.
So I didn't want to wait to be on the radio. And I created my own radio show with my little recorder and my record player, my
Yep.
vinyl record player. And I would record these shows and talk just like they did on the radio, playing. I had 345 records and I would just play them over and over.
Yeah.
And then I would play them for my friends on the phone one at a time. That's
Oh, really?
Oh.
how bad I wanted
Sweet.
to be on the
Yeah,
radio.
yeah.
Yeah, I was podcasting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're like the original
essentially.
podcaster.
The OG.
OG.
And our phone was the
Right.
payphone inside the barbershop. So at night, my dad felt bad that we didn't have a phone in, where we lived. So he
Right.
would give me 3 dimes and I would go into the barbershop in the dark, sit on the chair next to the shoe shine stand and dial the phone on the wall, one person at a time, and play my little recordings.
Nice.
It was amazing because I was giving myself, and this is a very a lesson to be learned here. I was giving myself the idea of what it was to be like on the radio. Your
Mhm.
subconscious doesn't know whether you're doing it for
Yeah.
one person on the phone or thousands of people. All that it knows is that you've done it before. And so I
Yes.
did that over and over and over. And then when I got to college, I got in a college radio station here in San Antonio at San Antonio College, and then went to El Paso where I landed my first job. Get this. I was working from 5 a.m. to noon on Sunday morning, and I was making a whopping $1.25 an hour. I thought I had died and gone to
Right.
heaven.
I bet.
I thought, this is unbelievable. I'm
Right.
playing the Beatles, the Sonny and Cher, the Beach Boys, cranking up the volume. And all of a
Mhm.
sudden, I'm just having the time of my life.
Yeah.
Well, that enthusiasm, that intentional enthusiasm
Right.
got me my next job, which is program director of the
Mhm.
competing station. Now I was running the show and I learned to be a broadcaster.
Yeah.
And that led to now the station that I had listened to under my pillow in San Antonio,
Right.
offering me the job of program director and on-air personality.
And how
It
old
was-
are you? How old are you at this point?
I was in my 20s, probably 21,
Gotcha.
22.
Wow.
And then at that point, I got my first call to go to Los Angeles.
Okay.
And that was my dream. So I ended up in Los
Sure.
Angeles at one of the top stations in the country. In fact, the #1 personality station, KMPC. You
Yep.
can imagine this. Every personality was connected with a national television show, hosting the shows. Like Wink
Mhm.
Martindale was
Yeah.
hosting Tic Tac Doe. Gary Owens was on Laugh-In. All these, I mean,
Yeah.
these were the giants in the industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Another lesson learned, Mike and Stacy, is that I had earned my right to be there.
Yeah.
You see, no matter how young or how old you are, when you earn your right to be there, that they can't take that away from you.
Mhm.
And so I thrived in that capacity. So my dream of radio came true.
It sure did.
And one day I got a call from an agent who said, "I've heard all your voices on the radio show.
Yeah.
Ever thought about doing cartoons?" I said, "Are you kidding? Since I was a kid."
Yeah.
So he says, "Okay, let me see what I can do. Give me a tape of your work and
Yeah.
I'll go to work for you." 2 weeks later, he calls and says, "You've got your first job. and you got to be here at 10 a.m. He gave me the name of the studio. And I can remember driving my little Ford Maverick into the parking lot of the Hanna-Barbera Studios, the
Wow.
home of Yogi Bear
So
and
cool.
Boo Boo.
You got to pinch yourself.
Oh my,
That's a full circle,
yeah,
360-degree moment. I mean, this is, the best possible thing ever.
Absolutely. And I was in the studio with the voices because I was there to do separate voices that they needed on the different episodes of the Jetsons.
Oh, wow.
I'm in the studio. You can imagine this. I'm in the studio with the original cast. I'm meeting them for the first time. There's George, there's Jane, daughter Judy, Elroy, and I'm hearing these voices inside. I'm jumping up and down and going, oh, I can't believe it. But I'm very professional. Hi, I really love your work. And it's a pleasure to work with you. But here's the icing on the cake. And it goes back to that gratitude.
Yeah.
Next to me, because we all did we would do each episode with separate microphones, and then the artist would take our recordings and draw the pictures or create the pictures to go with the voice. But next to me was the man who played the Mr. Spacely, which is where George Jetson worked.
Nice.
And his name was Mel Blanc.
Now, Mel Blanc is the most famous Bugs Bunny. I mean,
exactly.
He did like Foghorn Leghorn. Didn't he do Foghorn? Yeah.
Well, get this. He became my mentor.
That's insane.
I couldn't wait for the breaks. And then in fact, we'd have bigger conversations in the parking lot, just on and on. Wow. And he was like so giving and taught me a lot of his voices. Would you like to hear some?
Please.
Yes.
I thought you'd never ask. All right. So here's Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd, Sylvester, Tweety, and Yosemite Sam.
Okay.
Right. What's up, Doc? Have you seen a widow gray wabbit? I'm looking for a widow gray wabbit. When I find him, I'm going to tear him apart, whim from whim.
No, I ain't seen him. Ain't I a stinker? Ooh, I tore it to a putty tat. I did to a putty tat. You bet you for a putty tat. The putty tat was me. Why, I'm the wildest, rootness, tootness, shootness. Yeah, shut up.
There you go.
That's very good.
That was awesome. That was fantastic.
Now that's got to be one of the most beautiful menageries compiled together of the world famous cartoon characters. I love that.
I love
Thank
this.
you. Thank you. It's fun. It's fun. Another lesson there is that when you do cartoons, as in life, don't hold back. Give it all you got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you don't believe that you can do it, nobody else is going to believe it.
That's
but
right.
if you believe that you are in that moment that character, then your likelihood increases that other people go, yeah, I could see it, sure, and you move on. Now, speaking of, I would be probably beaten if I didn't bring up this next thing. Now, you play a reporter in Rocky 2, and this is probably one of the rarest things going because there aren't a lot of actors left from the early Rocky series. How does this happen to you?
Well, I got a call from my agent and said there's a. He didn't tell me what the movie was. He said in fact, I don't think they told him. They said there's a movie that they're doing a sequel on, and at the time it was Rocky was the big movie. And Sylvester Stallone was the biggest movie star in the world. And they sent me to a casting director at the MGM studios. Mm-hmm. So I go to this little tiny office, and the girl says, well, he'll be right with you. And I'm waiting for the casting director. And I'm I don't have a script at that point. And in walks Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone casts entire movie. So I'm sitting there and very cordial, very warm. And he's like, looking through the script and says, "Boy, this guy just had one line. Here's a good one. Here, read this." So I read it and he says, "What are you doing Tuesday?" Like he's going to pick me up. And I said, "I'm free." So indeed, that Tuesday, we shot at an abandoned bank building in downtown Los Angeles, and that's where
So that office scene, when you
Yes.
walk in the front door of the bank, right? Where
The
do
commissioner's
you
office,
go?
yes.
Oh, the office of the commissioner. Okay,
Yes,
I got you.
and that's why they've got the big table there,
Right.
and that's where they do the press conference announcing that he's going to have a rematch with Apollo Creed. So that it probably was like maybe 3 or 4 minutes part of the film.
Yeah.
It took us all day to do that.
Right.
Wow.
And it's interesting because next to me in the picture that you showed was Tawny Little. Tawny Little was Miss America.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd met her before because I had done a children's show on ABC TV at the ABC affiliate, and she did the news at the affiliate.
Okay.
And so in between we're talking, and we're both enthralled with how kind Sylvester Stallone was, and I was watching everything that he did, and what I loved about him was that he did everything. He was the star. He was the director. He was the casting director.
The writer.
He was blocking everything.
Yeah.
And you could see him, doing all the close-ups. And,
Oh, yeah.
and, I mean, it was incredible, working with the crew, et cetera. And then when it came time to do the scene, he became Rocky.
Now you're all standing there. You're on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
When you come into the room,
yeah.
Are they already seated at
Yes.
the table? Seated at the table.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
so you come in.
It starts out with them at the table, and then you see us, and then we're yelling out all these questions.
Right. And how was Carl Weathers?
Oh, great guy.
Right.
Everybody in the cast. And Bert was also a great, wonderful, warm, caring human being.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was.
everyone was just, and I think it's because Sylvester Stallone set the stage for that kind of an atmosphere, and at the same time, he was the one who brought us all together.
Right.
So I think it made a big difference, and it was just an incredible experience to do that, and then of course to see the whole thing unfold.
Yeah.
And the following year, 1979, we had the premiere at the Pantages Theater. In fact, I've got the program,
the original program,
and in it has all of the cast members. Yours truly.
Look at that
in there.
Aw,
and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll have to send me pictures of that, Sonny. That would be great.
In fact,
please.
I did. I've sent you.
Oh, the Dropbox. Yes,
exactly,
great.
yeah.
Okay.
Now,
And
do
then
you wear your own clothes for the role as the reporter, or did you go to wardrobe?
No, we actually, I want to say, we wore our own clothes, but we were told what to wear.
Oh, okay. I got
Gotcha.
you. So
Because we're reporters, and so we're don't wear the red, don't wear this or whatever, and everybody was pretty much uniform in that scene. But behind me, you can see on my wall, I've got the Rocky jacket that he gave every one of the cast members at the cast party afterwards, and it was just a wonderful gesture to do that, and it was something that I'm sure everyone treasures, myself included.
Yeah.
Stacy, what are you thinking at this point? I mean, what an amazing life he's had up to this point.
Right. So you're a lesson the way Mike is a lesson in not compromising your passion. Okay. So Mike did all the same things, and he even has his book about it. So this is Cue the Rocky Music.
That's right.
That is great.
Mike did not compromise. He's in high school. What do you want to be? I want to be Rocky. And people are like,
you look like Rocky.
Yeah. He wins the national lookalike contest, and he becomes you get in contact with Sly. You start the Philadelphia film tour. Like,
Crazy.
you did not compromise, and now you text with Sly on a regular basis.
And now, because of Sonny, we have a name to it,
right? And then
Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, go back. You say he won a national contest?
Yeah.
Tell me about
Yeah, in 2006, it was to help promote Rocky Balboa. So that summer, the city of Philadelphia was doing a bunch of Rocky events, and they had called the week Philly Loves Rocky Week. And they were going to have an outdoor showing of Rocky. They closed down South Broad they had 4 boxing rings in the middle of the street to do boxing matches. And they had a lookalike contest, a national lookalike contest. And then they had the statue that was in storage for 3 years. Nobody had seen the Rocky statue. They had moved it to the base of the steps. And Stallone comes into town, and of course he gives this beautiful 20-minute speech. Anyways, I won this contest, which is a very, very long, drawn out, funny story that I tell, but I won't bore you now with it. But I win the contest, and the grand prize was 2 tickets to walk the red carpet premiere of the film, watch the movie with Sly, and then go to the after party with Sly and all the actors. And, it just snowballed. And then I developed these Rocky film tours in Philly that I've been doing about 15 years now. So, but again, it's your philosophy.
Yes.
Much like yourself, you had said earlier that you didn't have a name for it, when you were a kid. But you were doing it. And the closest we came to having a name for it when I was a kid, my father would say, practice meets timing. What is it that you do? Whatever you practice over and over and over.
Right.
And at some point, it T-bones with an opportunity. And when that opportunity hits you, are you ready? Are you prepared? And if you're not prepared, odds are you're not even going to notice there's an opportunity. But if you're prepared, you're going to be looking for things. You don't even know you're looking for an opportunity. And like yourself, you were prepared when opportunity knocked. Does that seem like a fair
absolutely
assessment?
But you're also looking for it. You find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And think about when you buy a new car, you decide what car you want. And from the time you decide to the time you actually walk in the showroom and buy the car, you see how many cars there are like that.
You see it everywhere.
There's another one, because you're looking for it. And you apply that to positivity, apply that to opportunity, apply that. I like to say, what's the best that can happen?
Right.
And if you have that kind of an attitude, that's what comes to you. That's what you will find. And people show up that take you to this next level.
Yes.
And you think it's by coincidence, but it's really something that it's a power, like I say, that we have that we don't always use, but it's unbelievable and it's underlying.
Yeah. Well, people talk about, and Stacy knows this too, people talk about karma. And I don't know if I believe exactly in the definition of karma, but I believe in the bigger part of it, which is what you put out there, you're going to get back. So if you're a jerk, if you're arrogant, if you're rude and ignorant, that is going to come back to you.
Exactly.
But if you're kind, if you try to do something nice for someone, odds are something nice is going to come back your way, because this is your nature. Okay, this is your nature, and I think the three of us can attest to that. Stacy, does that make sense?
Well, it completely ties into. So recently, I went through some certifications for life coaching and CBT and positive mindset, and on my page for that, I say best case scenario mindset. And I've said to some of the people I'm, beginning to gain clients, and I said, you know what, if you want a worst case scenario, this situation, have at it. Go, write out the worst case scenario. But if you're going to talk about 3 bad outcomes, I want you to practice what are 3 good outcomes. So go there all you want, but I need to get you in the habit of thinking of all the ways that it can also work out.
That's true.
So when I was listening to your link that was there from your TEDx, I was like, okay, we just have the same philosophy in a million ways, and those 3 pillars, and you did the work by even before it was real, you were still doing it, and then that paves that path. That's a real thing. People have got to understand that's real. And that was my point when I started about Mike, and you and Mike are very similar in that way. You didn't compromise. You acted it out. You role played it out, and you kept going and going. And the both of you got to stand in rooms that you never imagined you would. Here you are, and you're a mega, mega presence. in radio. So his award,
Thank
you
you.
go to his website and you go to the awards and honors. It's like I keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. There's easily 10 or 15
Wow,
things here.
that's
I'm like,
fantastic.
wow. So I want to encourage people to go to sonnymelendrez.com because I'm like, my God, you're on fire. Like, look
You're
at
very
you.
kind. Thank you.
And you're speaking to your child, like where you were, like if you could revisit yourself as a
Oh,
kid.
yeah. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite questions. Like, what would you say to yourself
Right.
when you were a kid in those moments? And here you
know
are.
what I would say? Some people say, don't do this, don't do that. I would say, you're on the right track.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
Keep
it.
going.
Just
You're
keep
on
going.
the right track.
Keep
Because
going.
as long as you have that positive attitude, and believe me, we're surrounded, we're bombarded. And I grew up without the internet, but
Right.
now
Me
we
too.
see all of these things that are they're either pulling you toward them or they're giving you negativity. And you have to know that that is not necessarily the real world. There are many, many more people that you don't know about who have wonderful stories, and everyone has a story, and everyone can be inspired by hearing their story. I was hearing, hearing Mike's story is truly inspiring, and now that you're doing coaching, Stacy, that's fantastic. You're doing what you're born to do. And
That's
when you're
true.
doing that, there's no work. But going back on what you're talking about, putting in the work.
Yeah.
I've always said opportunity will find you, but it must find you working.
Yeah.
So just because
I
you
love
don't
that.
have the opportunity doesn't mean you shouldn't get ready.
Right.
We tend to think, I'm going to climb a big mountain, and one day I'll see that mountain and then I'll climb it. Well, there's no reason why you can't take mountain climbing lessons now and climb smaller mountains so that when that mountain shows up, you're ready to go.
You're ready to go.
Yeah.
I want to show you a picture before we
Yeah.
when we had the grand opening, it was actually the groundbreaking event for Planet Hollywood here in San Antonio.
Nice.
Sylvester Stallone came, and rather than break a champagne bottle, we had a piñata. You know what that is, okay?
Of course.
We had this piñata, and we wanted Stallone Sly to break the piñata officially and kick off the fact that Planet Hollywood was coming to San Antonio. So here I am on stage. This was actually on the Riverwalk with Sly. Our mayor is there, Mayor Thornton, and yours truly. And he's about to break the piñata. He took a big swing. There's the pic.
All right, bring it up a little
A
higher.
little bit higher. Nice.
Oh, there we go. Oh, that is fantastic. Oh,
Yeah,
that's a great shot.
and again, I was able to reconnect with him after we had, of course, worked on Rocky II, and he certainly remembered, very kind, and just really, it was a wonderful full circle moment.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Now, listen, I got two things for you before we let you out of here. So I'm gonna ask you about one thing, turn it over to Stacy, and then I'll ask you one last question, and then we'll get you out of here. Okay. There was a picture I saw out there of you and Ricardo Montalban and Tattoo. Stacy, do we have that picture?
We do.
So Fantasy Island is one of my absolute favorite shows.
Yeah.
Growing up in the late 70s, early 80s. Okay.
Right.
Tell us about this.
Okay. You're going to love this. First of all, that picture was taken at this wonderful event that I hosted for over a decade in Los Angeles. It's the Los Angeles County Arboretum.
Okay.
And it's lush grounds, beautiful flowers, etc. But on that location is what they call the Queen Anne Cottage. And that cottage is used when Tattoo, Hervé Villechaize, pulls the cords and the plan, and rings the bell.
Right.
So that's why they invited them to be a part of this. But it was actually the Latino Adoption Festival. Unbelievable. They had 200 potential families, 200 potential couples that had been screened, and they had 200 children who were available for adoption who were also Latino. So the idea was to get them into a Latino family. And so this whole day was, I call it people falling in love, because they would find a child, go play all these games, and then decide to adopt them in many cases.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Ricardo and Hervé, they came not only once but several times, and they were so gracious to be able to do that. But another connection with that is the fact that when I did the cartoons on the Jetsons, there's an episode called Fantasy Planet.
Oh.
And the Jetsons go to this fantasy planet, and at the planet they meet Mr. Rocket instead of Mr. Rourke, and
Okay.
and T2, and T2 is a little two-headed creature, and so I did the voice of Ricardo Montalban.
Nice.
My dear guest, welcome to Fantasy Planet.
Boss, what about the lady over there? I like the way her hair flips up on the back.
Tattoo, that is Jane Jetson.
I like her very much.
So
That's good.
Awesome.
I love that.
you're watching the Cartoon Channel and you see Fantasy Planet. That's how that came about.
I absolutely love that. Stacy, before I ask my last question to Sonny, what do you got before we let him out of here?
Thank you for your point about in the service of others. I love that so much. And I've recently heard that when you're suffering depression, if you're the first thing you need to do is get up and go out and go serve somebody else. Go do something for somebody else. It does actually change your brain chemistry. That is a real thing. And so I'll be honest, I've suffered from depression in my life, my family, it's pretty common. And myself, I never feel better than when I'm doing volunteering, trying to find something in the service of another person. It does give you that sense of purpose. So I just loved that part of your message today. It's so important, and it's very rocky, very rocky as well.
Definitely.
And I just, I love how you didn't compromise, like I said earlier, and you've achieved amazing, impressive things because you didn't quit and you believed in yourself. And so it's been really an honor to have you here today. So thank
Well,
you.
you're very kind. You're
Yeah.
very kind. Yeah, sometimes when you have a vision of what you see for yourself and no one else does, it becomes very lonely, and it's real easy to fall into that trap of, I should just give up. Why am I even doing this?
Right.
But that's when you're actually up close to the peak of the mountain. There just happens to be a lot of fog. And when that fog lifts, you realize how close you are.
Yes, that's so true.
That's absolutely very true.
Perfect.
Sonny, my last question. You find yourself in an elevator with Sylvester Stallone and you've got 30 seconds. What do you say to him?
I say to him, I said, Sly, I have to tell you that I have watched you from the very beginning. I've worked, of course, on Rocky 2, but to watch your videos, especially on TikTok, and the things that you do and the advice that you give, it's real obvious that you are living your best life. But you're not only doing that, you're giving your best life.
Yes.
And on behalf of everyone that you serve, people you'll never even meet, I just want to say thank you.
Wow, I like that.
Wow.
That was kind of unique and different. I haven't heard that one before.
It's perfect. Yeah. And
I like that.
yeah, you have an inside perspective there because, you really did see him from the very beginning, and to have lived that and to see him now, that's perfect.
Sonny, where can people find you?
Well, you'll find me at sonnymelendrez.com. And then I'm going to do something here.
Yeah.
I also have a podcast, The Sonny Melendrez Show, and I would like to invite you both to be on my podcast.
Love it.
Because it's
Thank
not
you.
only a podcast, it's a radio show here in South Texas.
Love it.
Okay.
So you'll be on the air in South Texas as well as on the podcast. So we're gonna make that happen, because
I love that.
You guys are both inspiring me. I have to tell you, I love your joy. I love your joie de vivre. I love your intentional enthusiasm.
You got to have it. And with that, I can't think of a better way to end this. Sonny, thank you so very much. And until we meet again, keep punching, my
Keep
friend.
punching.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
What a
See?
lovely guy.
What a
Lovely
sweetheart.
guy. I can't wait to talk to him again.
Yeah. Well, just that, those people that they kind of elevate you. They make you feel like you're
Sure.
floating.
Yeah.
That infectious positivity, that's genuine, that's real, that's not put
Yeah.
on. Because sometimes you
Yeah.
can tell when it's put on, and
Oh,
for
yeah.
him, it's very real.
Yeah.
And that was refreshing.
You don't
Yeah.
meet guys like that, humans like that, I should say, in life as often as you would like to.
Right.
And this has been our pleasure, definitely having him
Yes.
do his thing here. I mean, it really is. And I think everybody's going to love it. Can't
Yeah.
wait to see what people say in the live chat. That'll be
Right.
kind of cool.
That'll be fun, and I can't wait to join him on his radio show. That's
It's going to
a
be amazing.
nice and big invitation for us. So thank you, Sonny. Truly.
Speaking of invitations, where can people find you at?
I'm over at Had Me at Yo on Instagram, as well as the Rocky Files, and on Facebook we are at the Rocky Files podcast. And Michael, what
Beautiful.
about you?
The Yo Philly Film Tour. You can find me on Instagram. I basically work that because I think that's the kindest of all the platforms out there, social media platforms. I wrote a little book called Cue the Rocky Music. There you go. It's anywhere books are sold. You can kill spiders with it. I think I say that every week. Also, there's a little documentary about my life called The Pretender. Okay, there it is. The dream is real, people. The great Jim Toscano out of Detroit put this thing together over 5 years. It's really good. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on a lot of places except Netflix, because Netflix passed on it and they're stupid. Other than that, Stacy, I'm going to go. Are you going to go? I'm going to go. I'm out of here.
I am. Oh, thank you.
I'll see you next week.
Next week.
Keep punching, pal.
Keep punching. Bye-bye.